30 years of the best sports talk in Middle Tennessee, featuring Tennessee Radio Hall of Famer George Plaster, Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame coach Watson Brown, and Young Guns Billy Derrick. And now, here's your host, George Plaster.
Hello again, everybody. Welcome in on, I guess we would call it a beautiful Tuesday in Nashville. It's a little warm, but what do you expect at the end of June? Let's see how warm. 87 degrees, and beginning on Thursday, 98, 101 on both Friday and Saturday. So this just in, it's going to be warm. So back behind me, if you're wondering, is not Barry Trotz's plan to revive the Predators. I think we're going to actually get a backdrop here in a few minutes. Not that it really matters. We got a good show for you today. Among the guests, NHL Commissioner Gary Bettman will join us right at 2:45. Looking forward to that. Let's go to Murfreesboro and say hello to Kelly Holcomb. Kelly, how are you?
I'm doing great, George. How you doing?
I'm good, thank you.
You're good. You gonna do a little chalk talk?
You know, let's see here. Apparently we have forwards, defensemen, and goalies. I think that's as far as I can go.
You got to draw. You got to draw up plays and things on it. Some defense and some offensive plays.
I don't think that's a good idea.
Yeah, I wouldn't either.
No. The commissioner was out here earlier today, and looking forward to talking to him. I went to the awards dinner last night, which I think was very well handled. Kelly, I've thought this for a long time, and I'll go ahead and say it here. The Preds have taught the NHL how to market, pure and simple.
I think Nashville in itself has taught all these pro sports how to market. You look at the NFL Draft a couple of years ago. That was one of the best NFL drafts that they've had. They've got the NHL coming tomorrow. It's just, I think Matt Cruz said it the other day, it's just a city that knows how to host events. And I think people are finally figuring that out. You've got Las Vegas, but then you got Nashville. Nashville's been an entertainment capital for so many years with country music, and they just know how to do it. They do it right. They do it first class, and I think that's what people are seeing when they come to Nashville.
Tomorrow, our show will originate from Bridgestone Arena. You'll be thrilled to know that we have even coverage today from Bridgestone Arena. So with that in mind, why don't we go outside live at the arena with our own Butch Samide. Butch?
Thank you, George. I am outside Bridgestone Arena, which played host to the NHL Awards dinner last night. And both the Nashville Predators and the NHL will tell you that it went about as well as it could possibly go, and it was incredible for everyone involved. As for some local hockey news, Tennessee State University announced that they are bringing in a hockey program. For the first 2 years, the team will be recognized as a club sport, and in that third season, it will gain official recognition as a Division I program. As for the Predators, rumors are swirling that Barry Trotz could be trying to send Matt Duchene in a trade to another team. However, executives believe that the trade will be difficult if the Predators do not take at least part of Duchene's salary for the coming season. Tomorrow, the show will be out at Bridgestone Arena to cover the draft, but later on today, in today's show, Gary Bettman, NHL Commissioner, will be joining George and the guys in the studio at 2:45 p.m. And then NHL Players Association Executive Director Marty Walsh will be joining the show at 3:20. So there's a lot to look forward to today and tomorrow as the draft rolls in. That's it from Bridgestone Arena. George, back to you guys in the studio.
Okay, Butch, thank you very much. It is a busy time in the league. Kelly, all I can tell you is if there's a spare phone somewhere, don't be shocked if Barry Trotz is on it.
It's going to be neat to see what he does tomorrow, though. It's, I know that they've already sent one guy off. They're trying to send another one, but just like the Johansson deal, they have to pay, what is it, $4 million of his salary next year. So it seems like what's trying to happen with the Duchesne guy, but seems like he's being aggressive about it. He's trying to make some moves, and he's trying to get this organization better for the future. And we talked about it yesterday, but I'm like you. I think it's heading in the right direction. I think they got some good young talent, and it's going to be interesting to see what happens tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm convinced that by the end of the week, those of us who really pay attention to this franchise, and I'm talking for the most part about season ticket holders who go to a bunch of games, I think we're going to be really happy because I think Barry Trotz has figured all this out. I think he knows what the assets are. I think he knows what the liabilities are. And even though I told him not to make a trade while I was in Cincinnati, Kelly, he went ahead and did it.
Yeah, he didn't listen. He didn't worry about that. It was hot on his mind, and he got revving with it.
Yeah. Okay, David, what do we got?
We're going to stick with NHL Draft tomorrow night, first round here in Nashville, Bridgestone Arena. Kevin Weeks of ESPN released his mock draft. Obviously, Chicago has the number 1 overall pick. They will, in his mock draft, draft Connor Bedard, generational talent, a center. Anaheim taking Adam Fantilli out of Michigan, and Columbus with the 3rd overall pick taking Leo Carlson. We know McGee mentioned him yesterday, being a really good player as center. Nashville has the 15th overall pick and the 24th overall pick, and Kevin Weeks has them taking Andrew Cristall, a left winger, at 15. Really fits the offensive system that Andrew Burnett wants to run. Played in the WHL, 54 games, had 95 points. So he's a great offensive player, 39 goals and 56 assists. And then with the 24th overall pick, he has them going with a center. Another guy with offensive upside, Riley Height, playmaker, also played in the WHL, 68 games, 97 points. The thing that really stuck out for him, a passer, 72 assists of his 97 points, George.
My gut feeling is this is not how it's going to turn out. I think Barry Trotz is on the phone just wire to wire trying to move up. My gut feeling is he's going to be able to move up. It'll be interesting to see what the asking price is because the Preds have 13 picks, more than any other team in this draft. And I don't honestly believe that they're going to draft 13 different players. Somewhere in here, they're going to package something for something.
Who you think that? Let me ask you what I asked Mark McGee yesterday. If you were in Barry Trotz's shoes, what do you do, George? Do you try to move up? Do you stay at 15? Who are you going to get? I mean, what are the pressing needs for the team?
I think one pressing need is to get Matt Duchesne the hell out of here. I think he's a big problem in their locker room. I think there are a lot of people out there who feel that way. I think that's the first thing I think he's trying to accomplish is to get Duchesne out of here. I think Duchesne has been a pretty decent player with one breakout year. I think it's more the troubles that he causes in a locker room that worry them.
Right.
I do think he's going to try to trade up to try to get a real impact player, somebody who really has scoring ability. As Guy said yesterday, Barry's been watching this for a long time. He knows exactly what ails the Preds. And I'm encouraged because I think the first move he made strengthened them. I really do. And now if he can pull off the second one, then he's on his way to being a damn good general manager.
Seems like he's trying, man. He seems like he's being aggressive with it, which is the good thing. And I think I feel like I don't know anything. You know, I'm learning myself as we go with this.
Sure.
But it just feels to me like what you're talking about. It feels like the future is so bright for the Nashville Predators. And it looks like Barry Trotz has stepped into a situation where he knows exactly what's happening. He knows exactly what he wants to do. He's got his head coach in place that he coached. He knows everything about him. It fits the type of offense that he wants to run. So I just think that going ahead, this is going to be really good for Nashville.
Yeah, Kelly, you mentioned watching the national championship game last night, game 3, winner take all. It was all LSU last night. They mashed out a record 24 hits as they captured their 7th national title. They were buoyed by a 6-run second inning to jumpstart that offensive barrage in Omaha. Thatcher Hurd took the ball for the Tigers, and he was really good. Gave up a 2-run homer to Wyatt Langford in the first, but after that, he cruised through 6 innings, 7 strikeouts. That's LSU's first national title since 2009 under Paul Maneri. They were the preseason #1 in the country. They finished the historic year with the national title, and they're most likely going to have the first 2 players taken off the board in a few weeks with MLB Draft with Dylan Cruz and Paul Skeens.
By the way, LSU just scored again about 5 minutes before we went on the air to make it 25 to get up there with the Angels, who scored 25 over the weekend in Colorado. Good for LSU. It's a shame for Florida. They really achieved a lot to get there, and it has to kind of suck when your title game is a total blowout. That has to be a real deflator.
I heard those guys talking yesterday, George. The Kevin O'Sullivan, the coach for the University of Florida. He's been there for 15 years, and he's been to 8 College World Series, which is really unbelievable. So they just did not play well. Their pitching let them down yesterday, but LSU got it going. When you have 24 hits, obviously a record in the Men's College World Series, and they broke it. They broke from the day before because Florida tied it with 23, but 24 hits. They were on fire yesterday. Jay Johnson, they had a hiccup in game 2, which has got to speak something to him, don't you think? Because when you get beat as bad as they got 24 runs scored on them the day before, and then they come back and they score 18 themselves. So it's hard not to hang your head when you get blown out like that. But, man, they did not. And, God, that Dylan Cruz kid, he can hit. They've got guys on that team can hit. And yesterday, the whole roster was hitting. I think everybody got on base and had an RBI on their team. So that was amazing.
And an amazing atmosphere. There were LSU fans all over the place. That was a great atmosphere. They had Skeens walking out to the bullpen with his little backpack, and that stadium absolutely erupted. I can't tell you how many times that camera panned to him in the bullpen. We were thinking we're going to get him, but you had to know, Jay Johnson, for as great a year as they had, that would have been a pretty bad decision to bring him in up double-digit runs just to pitch. You got to think about that kid's future as well, Kelly.
Yeah, well, I think they were talking about that, though. They had a interview with the girl, during the game, and I think that was the objective. Was if it was tight, they were going to bring him in probably in the eighth or ninth inning. But when it got out of hand, there's absolutely no need. And those guys, hey, their bullpen, which we get to talk to Tony here shortly, their bullpen that he was talking about, that he was mocking, they played really well. That Riley Cooper kid, he gave them a lot of good minutes.
Sure did.
Yeah. George, Damian Lillard is back in the news once again. It seems like a yearly thing every offseason. Will Damian Lillard get traded from the Trailblazers? He wants to be there long term. He met with their GM, Joe Cronin, on Monday, saying that I still want to be a part of the team. And the Trailblazers came out and said, we remain committed to him. We want to build a winner around Dame, but the rumors are swirling. Miami, desperate to add another superstar to go with Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo. Should Damian Lillard be traded? Is this something that we should be talking about and thinking about moving forward?
Absolutely, it should be. First of all, he's a great talent.
Great.
I'm a big Damian Lillard fan. Portland has become, in recent years, kind of off the beaten path. I mean, really, what is it they've been contending for? What I don't understand is why hasn't he gone ahead and made that move? I get that he really loves Portland. Never been out there, so I don't know what to judge it on. But I'll say this. This go-round, he needs to basically back the GM in a corner and say, cut the crap. I want to know what the plan is. Otherwise, I'm out of here.
Yeah, a really good player. I think that would be great if he went to the Miami Heat. They would be in it again next year because he's something else. And nobody really knows. They know who he is, but they've not been relevant, George, for a while. So, it's been since Bill Walton days, since Jack Ramsey was there.
Wow.
That was tough. I understand that, but hadn't been that long ago. But he's a very good player.
It seemed like they peaked when they played the Warriors in that Western Conference Finals when the Warriors had Kevin Durant. But, they traded C.J. McCollum to New Orleans, and ever since then, the Blazers have basically been a lottery team. They just picked third overall and got Scoot Henderson. So we'll see what happens with Dame Time, one of the best players in the league, really, one of the great point guards in our league. Braves notes, George. Max Fried threw a side session yesterday before last night's game. Feeling better. That was his third bullpen since he's returning from that elbow inflammation. Moving closer to facing live hitters, most likely going to rejoin the team after the All-Star break. And then, George, tomorrow, the starters still to be determined for the Wednesday matinee out at Truist Park. Most likely, though, it's going to be either Mike Soroka or A.J. Smith-Sauvier taking the ball. I know you're rooting for one guy in particular to get that start.
Oh, I don't think for a minute it's Smith-Sauvier. He got lit up like a Christmas tree in Cincinnati, and I know because I watched it live and in living color. Whew, Joey Votto's ball is still traveling. What you're not hearing is Kyle Wright. And what I am hearing is not good. It's not encouraging at all. I now believe the Braves are probably going to try to go get somebody, an innings eater, at the deadline. I don't think they expected to have to do that, but there was no way to know the injury level. It's going to be Soroka tomorrow because they want to know, can we trust him? Is he good enough that we don't have to make that deal? That's what I think.
So, George, what's going on with Kyle Wright? Is it worse than they thought, or is it going to be longer than they thought? Or
I think it's going to be longer. I think that in the back of their mind, there has to be a little bit of, he may not pitch this year anymore.
Oh, wow. I got a chance to watch the Strider guy yesterday. First off, he's got an ultimate mustache, which is unbelievable, but good gracious, that guy can throw it.
Yes.
He's pretty good.
There are certain nights, Kelly, when he's on his A game, that he is now the most dominant pitcher in that league.
Oh, wow.
Now, it's not every night. He ran through a little 2-3 start deal where he wasn't as good, but seems to have come out of it, which is music to my ears.
Yeah, and Kelly, you saw him at his best last night, his ability to throw the changeup. That third pitch has been lacking for him. He's really been a two-pitch guy with that power heater riding up in the zone and that devastating slider/curveball slurve to the back foot of lefties and to over the plate to righties. That changeup, when he's got it going, he's one of the best pitchers in the league. So they need another guy to pair with him. Charlie Morton has not pitched great lately. Bryce Elder has been phenomenal. He'll take the ball tonight. But, with Schuster and Smith-Sauvier pitching, you got two rookies out of your five, So they're really looking for, like George said, for Soroka to come up and to eat some innings and be a guy that can take the ball every fifth day the rest of the year.
So George, if they've got to go out and get another pitcher, who do you envision them getting?
I don't know. Are there names out there? Marcus Stroman, Lance Lynn, Luis Castillo. Who knows? It's a smaller market this year because more teams in two or three of the divisions are really competitive.
Yeah.
So it may be a shrunken list as to who's out there and available. I know we got to go to the break, so we're going to go to the break. Kelly, we've got until around 2:40. And then NHL Commissioner Gary Bettman will join us. So stick around after the break. Knoxville Sports Talk Show host Tony Basilio will join us, and that is always good stuff. Year number 2 of the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night was awesome. And the reason is really simple. I chose Strike and Spare, and they were amazing. They have great food, great bowling, and a staff that is truly ready to go the extra mile to help you. They have 5 family fun centers in the area to choose from, and for more info, go to strikeandspare.com or call them at 615-824-5685.
How am I going to get to work? My car's totaled.
Scholar, our team is making a call right now. We'll get you a rental car. Don't worry.
That's a relief.
Call us 24/7. We're here. We're going to help.
Now that the weather has gotten considerably warmer, there's not a better place to spend a morning or an afternoon than Riverside Golf Links. So you've probably noticed the weather has gotten a lot warmer, and that means a couple of things in Nashville. It means baseball, and it really means golf. And for me, it's a visit to Riverside Golf Links. The course has improved dramatically. There are now 27 holes, including a 9-hole executive course. If you want tee times or more information, dial them up at 615-847-5074.
You can't see the sights without the sounds. From the crack of the bat to the roar of the crowd and everything in between, discover what Hit City has to offer. Spend your nights cheering on the Nashville Sounds at First Horizon Park with giveaways, fireworks shows, theme weekends, and more. Single game tickets are on sale now. Visit NashvilleSounds.com to claim your seat today.
So who said I can't be a golfer? Well, you know what? This is X Golf, located just down the road from the Fordyce Center in Bellevue. This is fun. It'll improve your golf game, and you need to stop in and check it out. 8138 Sawyer Brown Road, and who knows, I may get to 200 before it's all over. No, let's hear it.
Not on that, George.
Okay, we welcome all of you in. We're headed to Knoxville, and let's say hello to longtime sports talk show host Tony Basilio, who joins us for his weekly visit.
I saw Kelly singing there. He was mouthing. He went like this. Look, he went like this, George. He went.
That's a bold-faced lie, Tony.
I saw him.
That's a bold-faced lie. You shouldn't lie to folks that way.
Kelly. It gets inside you, man.
You shouldn't lie to folks that way. Although I will say this, when I played in high school, my high school always played Rocky Top. So, and we were fortunate enough to win a state championship my senior year. So Rocky Top was played quite a bit because we scored quite a bit.
That's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
So did you ever privately then, as they continued playing it, go, whoo?
I did not, George. I did not. No.
You're certain of that?
I'm certain.
Okay.
I'm not a woo guy either, George. I'm not a woo guy.
Okay, but there are quite a few that are.
Yeah, I think it's a nouveau thing. The woo. Well, nouveau to me, 25 years.
So let's start with your theory on what's going on with Chase Burns.
Oh, I don't think it's a theory. Look, I think when they put him on the bench or in the bullpen, that was it for him. That was it for him and them. And
have you thought this all along?
Well, I heard 6 weeks ago, genesis of this. I heard 6 weeks ago that he was highly upset. He was telling teammates and support people at Tennessee that he was going to go to LSU. And everybody just thought he was kind of blowing off steam. Well, when you watch the way he behaved on the mound and some of the things that he did in retrospect, that out loud stuff, like a lot of the gesturing and those sorts of things, I think he's working out his frustration with the coaching staff. Now that I think about it. And, his play was kind of a big F you to you guys. You put me in the bullpen. I want to be starting. And he pitched with a lot of anger and a lot of emotion that he didn't before. But my understanding is that he was agitating. They were ready for it. When the season ended, Tennessee went to him with a tremendous offer that was much more valuable than the one that he got from LSU originally. And my understanding is that he went back to LSU and said, hey, this is what they're offering me. And LSU said, well, we're taking somebody else. So that's why you're hearing his name with TCU right now.
Do you think Vandy is even an option?
There are people within Tennessee's program that think Vanderbilt is an option. But there's a caveat to that. And the caveat is, since they came back from the College World Series, Chase Burns has ghosted pretty much everyone. And so I wrote this on my blog today. And so to speculate as to whether or not Vanderbilt's involved with it, from our perspective, would be completely speculating, because he's not talking to anybody here.
So let me kind of play out something that has crossed my mind. So he wants to be a starter. He's not happy when he gets pushed into the bullpen, brings kind of a bullpen mentality of anger and yelling and a lot of the stuff that I see out of some of the great closers in baseball. Is it possible that this move, even though it ticked him off, is long-term for his career a great move?
Sure, but the problem is that he hates it. And he sees himself as the Friday night starter, which is the job he held last year, by the way, and did it very well. They displaced him this year for Dolander. He went to the Saturday role, second pitcher, and he just wasn't very good, as you say. I mean, his ERA in the league was something like 8.5, 9, something to that effect. And he just wasn't very good. And the last time he was out there as a starter, they mercifully went out there and got him pretty quickly and pulled the plug on him because he was getting hammered. So, sure, long term, could they have done him a favor? Sure. George, you and I both know that at the major league level, they draft starting pitchers and turn those guys into closers. So, the fact that you close in college these days doesn't mean what it did when we were kids and there was such a thing as a closer coming into that league. Now it's almost like you take failed starters and make those guys closers.
So everything you're giving me, and I get it, is he's hacked off at Vitello about this decision. Is there, for Tennessee fans who want to see him stay, is there sort of an intermediary who says, wait a minute, before this ends, let's get the two of you in a room. You can, throw out the bombs at each other.
Look, he's had former teammates reach out to him. He's ghosting everybody. So that's already been tried. And the thing that's interesting about this deal is that he just made up his mind, and that's that. And, when you're that age, I don't know how well you think things through. He's got a great support staff. He's got a great family. The thing about Chase Burns is, what's interesting about him leaving is we've had nobody, and I mean nobody, come on my show. Nobody emailing me saying, hey, this kid's a bad kid. Hey, this kid's a malcontent. Hey, this kid's this. Hey, this kid's that. Because you can't say that about him. I mean, if I would have told you guys 3 weeks ago that he was going to leave, you would have said to me, George, you're crazy. You'd have said, look at his body language. Look at the thing with Vanderbilt. He was all in. We knew before the Vanderbilt series that he was upset. I knew. I mean, I was telling my support staff people, and Evan Russell's on me every Monday during baseball season. We just concluded our run, but he was on for, 18 straight weeks, whatever it was. I called him when I first got word of this. And I said, hey, man, would you do me a favor? Make a couple phone calls, see what you can find out. His first words to me were, I don't believe that. I said, Evan, I don't blame you for not believing that. He said, it doesn't make any sense. And I said, okay, that's fine. He called me back couple and a half weeks later, and he said, man, he's going to leave. And I said, yeah, I know. And this is before, George, this is before, I mean, we had that conversation before he pitched in the Super Regional, to get him over the top. So the whole time Chase Burns was pretty resolved. He was telling people, he was telling his teammates, hey, I'm leaving. And nobody believed him. Tennessee believed him because they went and put a really good offer together for him. But by that point, he was not coming back. So I would say the answer is the percent chance of him being here next year is about, I don't know, 0.5% maybe. I mean, there's always hope, but I'll just give you a little scenario behind the scenes way this thing unfolded. He went to them Friday last week with the paperwork filled out to go into the portal. Somebody broke a story Saturday that he had filled out the paperwork for the portal, which is accurate. Tennessee had 48 hours to get the paperwork in, not counting the weekend. That's the way that's the standard operating procedure and the way it works. So, George, they waited till this morning. They took 48 hours to put his paperwork in. And they slow walked it in because, I mean, I'm not going to put words in their mouth, but we can kind of venture to guess that there's heat between these parties. And, hey, look, you're not going to deal with us in good faith and not going to sit down and talk to us and say boo to us here on the way out the door. We're going to slow walk your paperwork into the transfer portal. It's acrimonious.
To say the least.
Yeah.
Kelly, what do you got for Tony?
So I presented this to George the other day, Tony. I'm kind of an old school guy. So if I want you to put yourself in the shoes of Tony Vitello, and I understand that this is the new age of coaching. It's a new deal where all this NIL money is coming from. You got to recruit kids. You got to coddle them. You got to do all this. But if you're Tony Vitello, with him doing all this, do you let him back on the team?
Yes.
You do.
Tomorrow. And the reason why is, first of all, he hasn't done anything. He hasn't broken any laws.
Right.
He's got to upset feelings. Look, when you played, Tony Robinson told me a story one time. He left Tennessee's campus his freshman year. Johnny Majors drove all the way down there to Tallahassee and fished him out of his house.
Yeah.
Knocked on his mom's doorstep, said, hey, Johnny Majors is as hardcore as they come.
Oh, yeah.
And you and I both know that. And Johnny was the biggest star in any room he was in, but he understood the value of, hey, this guy's going to be really, really special. Chase Burns, a first-round Major League Draft pick, who hasn't violated anything, who, whose feelings got hurt, and who was talking amongst his teammates about the fact that he was going to leave, and probably was bad-mouthing me and Frank Anderson if I'm in Tony's shoes. But at the same time, I would say, you know what? When we put the ball in his hands, the guy went out there and went 150% for us. Yeah, I'd take him back. And I think, Kelly, most other coaches would take him back. Even the old school coaches, I think Kel would take him back. You can sit there in that chair and say you wouldn't, but if your job is to win games, you would take him back.
That's why me personally,
yeah,
I do not like the way that athletics are going right now. I'm just an old school guy, and I know you've got to change with the times, but I don't know. It'd just be hard for me to do that. Is somebody, let me ask you this, is somebody like, you've already talked about his parents. He's a good kid. We all know that. But is somebody else in his ear, does he have a handler or somebody that's in his ear talking about, hey, you can get more here? Or do we just think that he got his feelings hurt? Or do you think that after the season that he had, maybe he's going after more NIL money?
I think ultimately what it comes down to is feelings were hurt, and he's just like, screw these people. I don't want to be around them. And I think to some extent, they're like, hey, you're a great player, but good luck to you. We'll see you down the road. We wish you well. I do think there's an element of that too.
Yeah.
Now that's a far cry from, him calling them up tonight and saying, hey, I've had a change of heart. I mean, there's always room for you to come back and us put our arms around each other. But right now, We're far from that. They're to the point where they're already moved on. They're working several different pitching angles in terms of people that they're visiting with. Kelly, what they've done in all these sports is with this freedom of movement, they've set up a deal where these coaches are all recruiting players off each other's rosters.
Oh, absolutely.
And you and I know that if you leave a bunch of coaches to police themselves, you will have total freaking anarchy in all these sports. The public can sit there and they can project onto these coaches that they're just wonderful, tremendous, they want to win. And they will cut your throat, my throat, and George's throat to do it. Those are the people that gravitate to those gigs. Kelly, am I lying?
No, you're absolutely right. No, you're absolutely right. I don't know. Just college recruiting in general has gotten so cutthroat, especially at the Power 5 level. It's so cutthroat. I totally get that. I mean, I get it. That's why I just don't know if I could do it, Tony. I really don't. These coaches now are going through uncharted waters that they've never been through. They're having to recruit not only the high school kids, now they're having to look in the transfer portal, but now they're having to recruit the own kids on their staff so that we can keep them happy. And I just don't know. I don't know. I just don't know if that's the right way to go, but that's where we are in today's collegiate sports.
And then you got guys like Middle or Vandy, where you unearth a gem.
Yeah.
The guy's a 3-star player, but he's got 4.5-star talent. Guess what? He's not at your school long.
No.
That's reality. Hey, son, I saw you the other night, your game against Birmingham. Man, you had 12 Hey, we'd love to have you come up here and play for us. And all of a sudden, somebody's whispering in the kid's ear, and guess what? He ain't going to stick around. Wants to play in the Southeastern Conference or wants to go play in the ACC and make a little money doing it. And, the thing about a Chase Burns is, and this would be the question I'd ask him, and any of these young people, is what's it worth to you to go play your last year there, where for the rest of your life you could identify with this place, all the relationships that come with that, all the family atmosphere, family aspects that come with that. Maybe that stuff's all pie in the sky and doesn't matter anyway, but it seems to me down through the years when I see these lettermen hang out with each other at these reunions, that is a real thing that people share. You share with your former teammates. And when you walk out the door, you're kind of known as the guy that walked out the door. You surrender that a little bit, especially a legendary figure like him who was just incredible. Tennessee is nowhere near. They don't get to the postseason if he doesn't, let alone all the way to the College World Series without him. No way.
Yeah, I think you're right. So my last deal, because I know George wants you, but my last deal is this. We talked last week about LSU and how their pitching staff was done. And then they had the most dramatic performance with all those guys. It was unbelievable. Like I kept going back to Tony Basilio talking about the pitching staff.
Done. They were done.
Then you get the Riley, the kid, the Riley Cooper kid comes in, the Ockenhausen kid comes in, looks really good. Those guys pitched lights out. Unbelievable.
Tony, here's the good news. You've only got a minute.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Kelly, I appreciate you not holding my bad takes against me.
I couldn't help but to think about that all week when I was watching these games. I'm like, I cannot wait to get on with Tony again and talk about their pitching staff, because their pitching staff is what won the dadgum World Series for them. And then obviously the bats last night. I mean, 24 hits, a World Series record, but man, they played really well.
I'm so glad that they didn't pitch that Skeens kid last night, because that would have been a real disservice to him. I'm glad the game worked out to the point where they didn't have to throw that kid out there, because I think that would have been bad for college baseball if they'd have done that.
Okay. That was beautifully done. Kelly, I gave him the ability to sort of give you a quick goodbye and stuff it, and next week maybe he'll unload on you. But we're about to be
guy right there. next to Watson Brown, Kelly's my guy.
Oh, good Lord.
Hey, Tony says that to everybody, dude.
Really
He's lying right
the
now.
The more time we spend now,
Mm.
Kelly, you got to understand something. I got like a special kind of on-air love for Watson Brown now. So for me to even say your name in the same sentence.
Wow.
Watson's his daddy.
Yeah,
I
mean, it's special, man. It is
Well, I appreciate it.
Hey, next week, same time. Well, no,
brother.
it'll be July 4th. I'll talk to you about it. We'll figure
See
it
you,
out.
brother. Okay, thanks.
Tony Basilio, man, he is good stuff, and thoroughly enjoy having him on every week. After the break, we will be joined by NHL Commissioner Gary Bettman. But first, I want to talk Big Machine Music City Grand Prix. Late word in the ticket department that single-day tickets are now available. So if you can only go one of the 3 days, now is the time to go to the website, and I'll give you the info here in just a minute. So that's some new news coming out of the ticket buying. Now, to the particulars of an incredible sporting event. I've never been to a Grand Prix. I don't know what to expect, but I do know I'm excited. I accepted an invitation like that, partly because so many of you who have been in the same boat have come away saying to me, this is one of the coolest sporting events they've ever attended. And you know what? They have no reason to tell me that if they don't feel that way. So the tickets have been on sale now for a while. Now the single day tickets are available as well. And it's pretty simple. You go to musiccitygp.com. That's musiccitygp.com. And after the break, we'll be joined by NHL Commissioner Gary Bettman. Stay tuned.
As the trusted premier custom home builder in Middle Tennessee, Donnelly Timmons has over 20 years of experience in the industry. Whether you're looking to build your dream home or renovate your current home, their team will ensure that every client and every remodel is unique, luxurious, and completed on time within budget. Founders Dustin Timmons and Joey Donnelly have over 25 years of construction experience in the Nashville area. Together, they have completed projects in Forest Hills, Oak Hill, Green Hills, Franklin, and Brentwood. Dustin and Joey believe that communication is the most important aspect of all construction projects. Therefore, they personally manage each project themselves and are involved in job site activities on a daily basis. Their commitment to quality and integrity has earned them an outstanding reputation among their clients. Contact them to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects. Give them a call at 615-456-7983 or log on to DonnellyTimmons.com.
For over 35 years, Wilson Bank & Trust has been committed to providing customized banking solutions to help individuals, families, and businesses in Tennessee achieve their goals. As your full-service community bank, we are proud to offer loans with competitive rates, local decision-making, and fast, friendly service from our experienced lenders. No matter where you are on your financial journey, Wilson Bank & Trust is ready to help you take the next step. Visit your nearest Wilson Bank & Trust office or online at wilsonbank.com to get started today. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Family owned and operated for more than 2 decades, Alaco Fine Wood Floors is Nashville and Middle Tennessee's choice for premium quality hardwood floors. Since 1995, Jimmy Alaco and his army of employees have embodied the approach of taking pride in one's craft and providing superior customer service, growing from a one-man shop to a team of 23 professionals who share the founder's passion for quality craftsmanship and customer satisfaction. If you are interested in contacting them, you can find their headquarters at 2505 Winford Avenue in Berry Hill, or give them a call at 615-356-0303. Again, that's 615-356-0303, or log on to alacofinewoodfloors.com. Alaco Fine Wood Floors, serving Middle Tennessee's hardwood flooring needs since 1995.
At Baird, we have a different slant on global financial advice. that global capabilities mean nothing without personal attention. We have investor relationships in 35 countries and market expertise in over 40 industry verticals, all to help make the most important investment connections of all, yours. Global financial advice with a client-first approach. It's the shape of things to come. Discover the Bear Difference at beardifference.com.
We are back. Last night was a great night for our city and for sports in the city. The NHL awards were terrific. There was only one thing that bothered me last night, and that was the booing of NHL Commissioner Gary Bettman. I know the truth about all this going back 16 years because I lived it in a summer where I felt like I was running a political campaign. For all the credit we've been given, the Our Team Nashville group, for keeping the Predators from going to Hamilton, Ontario, the truth of it is, if the commissioner, Gary Bettman, had not been in our corner and trying to help see to it that it could happen, this team was gone, pure and simple. So I've got a lot of respect for this man, and it's good to have him on again. Let's say hello to NHL Commissioner Gary Bettman. Commissioner, how are you?
I'm great, but I'm a little confused. I got booed last night? I must have missed that part. You know what? What happened here in the darker times was solved because it was the ultimate collaborative effort, whether it was ownership, the fans, your efforts, and a little bit of me sprinkled in. It really was the right thing to do. And when you look at how Nashville has grown and developed as an important city, as a tourist destination, it seems to all coincide with the Bridgestone Arena and the Predators coming here. So it's great to have been a part of this, and there's no place else we'd rather have been.
You know, Commissioner, when people would ask me, why are you so hepped up on this? Why are you so worked up? Because clearly I was. The answer I would give people was, if this team leaves, this arena becomes a white elephant. And you're absolutely right. The growth that we've had downtown, the arena has been a huge chunk of it.
Well, and it also is a broader statement. It's about the brand Nashville. This is a major league city. This has become an incredible growth story about how a city develops and grows and matures the right way. And, you know, to keep coming back here as I do and see how it's transformed, it's simply been thrilling. And to walk down Broadway, even on a Monday night, it was unbelievable last night. The festivity, the excitement, the sheer fun, the music, of course. It's all part of what makes Nashville, Nashville.
You get asked this a lot, I'm sure, when you come here. In the mid-'90s, as all this was developing and we're starting to figure out there's a Craig Leopold out there, did you think this would happen for Nashville?
Absolutely. I mean, could I have projected that Nashville would go through this incredible boom? No, I'm not a city planner, but did I believe that this community would embrace NHL hockey, and NHL hockey, the Predators would become an important part of the community? I believe that to my very core from the very beginning. And Craig Leopold had a great vision for hockey here and for this city. But I don't think anybody, you know, and I've known all the mayors during my term, I don't think anybody could have predicted that Nashville would have become as quickly as it has what Nashville is. And it's simply an incredible growth story.
Yeah, it really is. So I look at not only the city's growth, But the NHL's growth, Gary, there are so many things that are so much better about this league than they were 25 years ago. That has to give you some real pride.
Well, that's nice of you to say. I never view it about me or my effort. You know, the ultimate team sport has undergone the ultimate team effort in terms of making sure we've got a great footprint across North America, that our franchises are all strong, that we've got amazing athletes who make our game great. We have the most extraordinary competitive balance in sports. And more people, particularly with the coverage we now get on ESPN, ABC, and on Turner TNT, more people are touching our game in more ways. And if you aren't a fan, but you give us a chance, you're going to become a fan, because the game is that exciting, that entertaining, and that compelling.
If I had asked you 5 years ago, will you ever get ESPN back? What did you honestly think?
Well, you know, the NBC was a terrific partner. So, you know, for 16, 17 years, we had no complaints, but the media landscape is evolving. And the digital platforms are becoming increasingly important. And, you know, what ESPN and Turner have been doing to promote us, how they produce the games. You look at the pre and post game shows and the intermissions, the ways that they use our content to engage viewers across their platforms more and more. Joining them was a great opportunity. I have nothing but good things to say about NBC, but we like where we are now. And this has been a very positive move for hockey.
I guess I'm biased because I've seen some of the great things the Preds have done in the marketing and promotions world. Gary, it just seems like the whole league has stepped up its game under the terms marketing and promotions.
Well, I think part of that is our game has never been more entertaining and more compelling. As I mentioned, our competitive balance is great. Our game emphasizes speed and skill. The length of our game is very good, particularly for younger fans who tend to have different attention spans than people your age or my age. I think we were made for this generation. And because the product's so good and our franchises are so strong and our players are more talented than they've ever been, what you're seeing is a confluence of things that makes it not only more compelling when we market, but it's easier to market because of our authenticity. The game and all the component parts of it are that good.
NHL Commissioner Gary Bettman is on the line with us. Now, I know he's got a busy schedule, so I'm going to leave with a couple of more questions and then let him get out of here. Commissioner,
thank you.
Talk to me a little bit about what went on this morning. I was here at the press conference at the Ford Ice Center, and even though I wasn't able to say hello to you, I was impressed with what went on up there. Talk to folks about why that is important to the league.
Well, we had a player inclusion committee to make recommendations and to help us focus on ways that we could be more welcoming and more inclusive and grow the game across all demographic groups. And the great former players and current players and future players who have focused on this have said, let's form a coalition. It's no longer about recommendations. Let's get involved in taking concrete action to grow the game and to make it more inclusive. And we and the Players Association have agreed to seed funding of $1 million. And we're committed to working with these players who know the game better than anyone else to make sure that no matter who you are and where you're from, you can feel a part of this game. You can see yourself in the game as part of the game. And it's just been an amazing effort to see the players, former players, come together and give this the direction that we think will take us to the next level of growth and inclusiveness.
Okay, last question, and this is the one that if you had $1 for every time you've been asked it, you'd be a jillionaire. Vegas was an incredible hit as an expansion franchise. Now they've won a Stanley Cup. Seattle in the early going has been a smashing hit. Is there any more of this down the road?
Yeah, we get lots of ongoing expressions of interest. Places like Salt Lake City, Quebec City, Houston, Atlanta, Kansas City. And we listen, but we don't currently have any plans, and I'm not really focused on any further expansion at this point. I'm not saying it couldn't ever happen, but it's not something at this point in time that I think is in our immediate future.
By the way, it was a nice touch to honor David Poyle last night. I was thrilled to see that.
Well, he deserves it. He has been the longest tenured general manager in terms of games he's presided over. He's got the most wins of any general manager in the history of our game. He has been an extraordinary friend, counselor to me, because his knowledge and his passion for the game is simply incredible. He is smart, he is thoughtful, he is articulate, and he really gets how the game has needed to progress and evolve. And he's been at the forefront of everything the general managers have done and all the rule changes that we've made over the years to make the game, as we've discussed, so compelling.
Commissioner, I hope there's a day where you actually get the applause here. There are at least 20 of us who were part of that. It's hard to believe it's been 16 years ago.
The applause thing, and my kidding around at the beginning, it's a thing, and it's okay, because if I came out and it was really quiet, I'd be really concerned.
Well, just know there are about 20 of us who know what your role was now 16 years ago, and thank you for helping us.
Your role as well. Let's give credit where credit's due. So thank you for everything you've done to help make the Predators such an important part of the landscape of Nashville.
Commissioner, thank you for the visit. Look forward to seeing you tomorrow.
Sounds great. Thanks for having me.
That's NHL Commissioner Gary Bettman. Kelly, the first time I met him after it was over, I told him that we gave out his number one day and blew up his switchboard.
Yeah.
And he says to me, he goes, "So I get that you spent a lot of your time that summer on that. What would you have done differently?" And I looked at him and I said, "It's the first year in about 40 years I haven't gone down to see the Braves." He just looked at me kind of like, "Oh, there's something wrong with you."
George, he's Roger Goodell gets booed every year. Every commissioner is going to get booed at the draft. It's just how it is, because you can't make everybody happy.
No, it's a tough job. But look, this is what I do know, was that there came a point, and I know what the point was. Jim Balsillie held a sale. I was in Las Vegas at the time. He held a one-day season ticket sale in Hamilton, Ontario. He sold 14,000 tickets to a team he didn't own at that point. Now, I don't have proof of this, but I believe Gary Bettman then went to Craig Leopold and said, "You can sell it all you want. You're just not selling it to him."
Yeah.
And that was the day I knew for the first time we've got a chance to keep this team. And I remember from Las Vegas calling, Ralph Schultz, who ran the chamber. He had just taken over as the executive director of the Nashville Chamber of Commerce. And I called Ralph and I said, "We now have a chance. Let's knock down this door."
Yeah, well, it sounds like he's if you watch the NHL, they've got so much fan support. He's getting on TV. Yeah, I was thinking when you were asking the questions, I was thinking about what the NHLPA used to tell us, that if you can get the TV money, we don't even have to have people in the stands, which is not a good way to be. It was like that in COVID.
Right.
But that TV deal is huge, and the NHL has got it. It's exciting to watch. I'll be honest with you. I enjoy watching it. Went to a Buffalo Sabres game when I was playing for the Bills, and I didn't know anything about it. And it's such a up and down fast, changing lines. It's really a fun game to watch, and I've gotten to where I can enjoy it a little bit.
We hope to be joined around 3:20-ish by Matt Walsh, who is the new, I want to say this right, executive director of the NHL Players Association. Now, normally, the guy that runs the Players Association and a commissioner are like this. I didn't see any of that tension earlier, and I hope to get the chance to talk to him about it. Either way, we'll go to the break, and we'll have more in just a moment.
Hey, thank you for meeting with me today. The insurance company has made an offer.
Already? How?
They've offered you the entire policy.
Thank you, Blair.
You're so welcome.
Forget the fact that Sir Speedy Music City is owned by my BGA classmate James Warren. Their work stands on its own merit. James and his staff do incredible work, as evidenced by the huge banners at the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night. If you're looking for quality to help your marketing and business communications, and you want it at a reasonable price, these are your folks. Call them at 615-832-9511 or go to print at sirspeedymusiccity.com. And be sure to tell them Plaz sent you.
This is my buddy and former Nashville Sounds PA announcer Eric Berner. I always laughed in the old days at Greer Stadium when I would walk in, Eric would immediately play my favorite song, Van Halen's Jump. But then I learned he actually has a real job with Rockcastle Wealth Advisors.
Yeah, George, that's what I do. I help people in the pursuit of making their money live as long as they do. Everybody's situation is different, so I use a customized and individualized, personalized approach to the person I'm working with. Old 401ks, retirement planning, insurance planning, inheritance planning. Those are things that people like to get some more information about.
One of the things I find is people don't even know where to start, and that's where you come in.
Yeah, so I can usually help people with an initial phone call or meeting that is a no charge and no obligation.
And I'll bet you have a phone number and a website.
I do, George. They can call me at 615-235-1058 or rockcastlewealth.com or Eric at rockcastlewealth.com.
Hello, this is Celeste Middleton, a State Farm agent in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. I want to help my neighbors and local businesses be proactive and assess their risk before something unexpected happens. We want you to have a thorough understanding of your coverages to have the best protection when you need it. We can create a personal price plan for you. Our team has over 70 years of experience helping people in Middle Tennessee. We have an awesome team with integrity and provide honest and prompt communication, and we love what we do and genuinely care about everyone we work with at our office. Give us a call at 615-895-2700. Send us a message at celestemiddleton.com or walk in at our office at 803 North Thompson Lane in Murfreesboro. We would love to earn your business.
Welcome to John English Antique Sports and Cards, located at 204 East Depot Street in beautiful downtown Shelbyville, Tennessee. Their phone number is area code 931-492-4304. John, obviously, I've been blown away by what I've seen at your place. I've now been there 3 times. But for the person who's never been, what should they expect?
Well, we have a 3,000 square foot store, George. Half of it is vintage cards in all sports. And then half of the store is, a lot of people call it the museum, where there's a lot of early equipment and just the history of sports in general. Baseball, football, basketball, golf, tennis, and other items.
When somebody comes in there that you know is a big sports fan, what is their normal reaction?
Well, I think that they're pleasantly surprised, and of course, being in Shelbyville, Tennessee, which is a small town that you would never expect a shop like we have to be in. So they're kind of, I don't want to say blown away, but as I said, pleasantly surprised.
Welcome back in. It is time for Kelly Holcomb's favorite segment of the show. It is time for Stat of the Day, presented to you by the good folks at John English Antique Sports and Cards, located in Shelbyville, Tennessee. 204 East Depot Street is where you can find them. They're open during the week, Tuesday through Friday from noon to 5, and on Saturdays from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. So give them a call at 931-492-4304. Our show today has a little NHL flavor. The draft going to be here tomorrow night, first round. Last night, the awards ceremony took place. George was there, so we'll go there. NHL award question. Last night, a generational talent. Connor McDavid won his third career Hart Trophy. That's the MVP award for the NHL. He became the fifth player to win the award at least 3 times within the first 8 seasons of his NHL career. Can you name the last player to win at least 3 Hart trophies within their first 8 seasons in the league?
Okay, Kelly, let's go through the obvious ones. Mario Lemieux, Sidney Crosby,
Wayne Gretzky.
I mean, wouldn't it have to be one of those?
The last player to accomplish this, I would think so. Would you not?
Yeah. So let's throw out a broad brush here. Is it one of the 3?
No.
Oh, good Lord.
Shocking.
Dad
Gretzky did it, but he wasn't the latest to do it.
Oh, there's something obvious that I'm goofing on. Boy, I don't know. You just got to put it out there and let's take a look at it and then show ourselves how stupid we look.
We're giving up on it.
We're giving up on it.
Yeah, I have no clue. I can't even think of a name.
It is Alex Ovechkin.
Oh, gosh. Come on, George.
Seriously.
You got to be better than that.
Alex Ovechkin.
Okay.
I thought
I agree,
was a
George.
layup, boys.
I wouldn't have got it, but I know Alex Ovechkin.
Oh, yeah. So, Kelly, here's what was interesting to me in the interview we just had. You know how much I've kept up with the whole baseball stuff because I believe that sooner rather than later, there's going to be a pony up time for the cities that want a Major League Baseball expansion. And by the way, I'll give you a little scoop here. Salt Lake City has paid Dale Murphy $250,000 to be sort of their face of what they're doing. And I'm told he was in Atlanta a couple of weeks ago checking out the old Battery.
Really?
So Major League Baseball has said, look, we've got to fix Oakland. They played in a toilet. And now it looks like they have fixed it, going to Vegas. Got to fix Tampa. Now, I personally believe there's a third trouble spot in Major League Baseball. It's the Miami Marlins. As good as this young team is, I don't see them flocking to the ballpark. I'm not convinced that Miami long-term can make a go of it down in South Florida, but that's just my opinion. The NHL, in my mind, has one big trouble spot. It's Arizona. I don't think that the Arizona, Phoenix, whatever the hell you want to call them, the Coyotes, I'm not convinced are going to be there in 5 years. And I think one of the cities that he brought up will ultimately be the future home of the Arizona Coyotes. You buy that?
Wow. Why will these, what is making these markets like, I understand Tampa Bay, that they still play in that dome down there. Am I not mistaken? Yeah, that's been a dump for a while, has it not?
Oh, good Lord, yes.
And then why can't they? I just don't understand why they can't get any fan support in Miami with Florida Marlins. I don't understand it because they've got aren't they making some waves this year?
Oh, they are they're the one team that could beat the Braves in that division. They play each other this weekend in Atlanta.
Yeah.
Hoping that we can bury them and get them out of this, but they're a definite wild card possibility. They've got really good young pitching. They're a farm system that can find pitching.
George, why can you not make it work in those places? Like I understand about Oakland. I get Oakland. It seems like the Oakland Raiders did it. They left, they came back, and now they've left again. But I just don't understand why when you've got, because usually when use the old Field of Dreams, I used it the other day, but you build it, they will. If you build it, they will come. And if you're building something in Florida or you're building something in Tampa, because Tampa's won some. Well, I don't know if they've won a World Series. Have they not? I think it's Florida. Florida Marlins did.
Correct. Marlins have won a World Series.
That's correct. Yes, but I just don't understand why you can't get fan support.
Yeah, and the Indians as well.
Yeah.
Exactly. I was going to ask George this. Is it not a conflict of interest for Tampa to have the Yankees spring training facility in Tampa? That's why they can't build the stadium there. The stadium's in St. Pete because you can't have both franchises operating there.
This is all part of the late George Steinbrenner's deal. One of his big companies that he owned when he bought the Yankees was based out of Tampa.
Yeah.
By the way, I've just gotten through reading a 600-page book that you all are like, we didn't know George could read, so this may be a scoop. It's about, I read this thing in 4 days about the acrimony between Bud Selig and Donald Fehr, who later became the NHL's player association head, and how Steinbrenner just mixed up the waters and made it even worse for all parties. The book is unbelievable. I gave it to Jeff Francoeur when I was in Cincinnati, and I said, you read this damn thing. If you start, you won't put it down. So I'm looking forward in a few minutes to talking with Marty Walsh, the new head of the NHL's Player Association. What a resume. He was the mayor of Boston for 7 years, later got involved in the Biden administration, and then accepted this job. I can't wait to say, why'd you do this?
Yeah, why did you do this? You obviously took a pay cut to do that. Maybe not.
Well, maybe. Who knows?
Yeah,
but he certainly loves Boston, and I do too. I'm a big fan of that city. It's a beautiful city when the weather's nice.
I'm going to ask Danny Evans, like, did Danny ever have any run-ins? I'm sure he had to have some run-ins with George Steinbrenner. Would he have had that?
I doubt it, because he was an assistant GM of the White Sox. My guess is he'll say no, but the book that I have just gotten through reading is unbelievable. I mean, you talk about a dysfunctional group with 32 owners who all have gigantic egos, bigger pocketbooks, and they want things done their way. And Bud Selig was a guy who tried to build a consensus, and it just frustrated the hell out of him.
I can see that.
It's a great book.
Hey, it's hard when you got the money to come to a consensus.
Yes.
Kelly, you asked about the Marlins, and unfortunately, their franchise has never been the same since they lost Jose Fernandez, who was their ace pitcher, tragically passed away in an accident.
Oh, yeah.
He was really young, and he was the face
Voting
of that
accident,
Latin community as well. He was a stud, and George knows this. The Braves could not touch him on the mound, and then they traded away their stars, Yelich, Ozuna, Stanton. So as a fan base, I think it's been hard for them to buy into what they're doing, because as soon as a player gets good, they send him away. And I think that's the luxury that Braves fans has. We have a player, we sign him long-term. We know that when we buy a jersey at the store, that they're going to be there 6 or 7 years and they're going to be on the team.
Now, that said, it wasn't always this way. Listen, in the 70s, the Braves were as dysfunctional as it gets. This new run of good stuff, sounds great. But, man, 40, 50 years ago, they were a mess. They were a dumpster fire. We're going to go to the break right about now, and then we will meet the new head of the NHL Players Association, the former mayor of Boston. Marty Walsh will join us, and that will come up next.
How am I going to get to work? My car's totaled.
Skylar, our team is making a call right now. We'll get you a rental car. Don't worry.
That's a relief.
Call us 24/7. We're here. We're going to help.
Year number 2 of the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night was awesome. And the reason is really simple. I chose Strike and Spare, and they were amazing. They have great food, great bowling, and a staff that is truly ready to go the extra mile to help you. They have 5 family fun centers in the area to choose from, and for more info, go to strikeandspare.com or call them at 615-824-5685. Now that the weather has gotten considerably warmer, there's not a better place to spend a morning or an afternoon than Riverside Golf Lanes. So you've probably noticed the weather has gotten a lot warmer, and that means a couple of things in Nashville. It means baseball, and it really means golf. And for me, it's a visit to Riverside Golf Links. The course has improved dramatically. There are now 27 holes, including a 9-hole executive course. If you want tee times or more information, dial them up at 615-847-5074.
You can't see the sights without the sounds. From the crack of the bat to the roar of the crowd and everything in between. Discover what Hit City has to offer. Single game tickets are on sale now.
Hello, this is Celeste Middleton, a State Farm agent in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. I want to help my neighbors and local businesses be proactive and assess their risk before something unexpected happens. We want you to have a thorough understanding of your coverages to have the best protection when you need it. We can create a personal price plan for you. Our team has over 70 years of experience helping people in Middle Tennessee. We have an awesome team with integrity and provide honest and prompt communication, and we love what we do and genuinely care about everyone we work with at our office. Give us a call at 615-895-2700, send us a message at celestemiddleton.com, or walk in at our office at 803 North Thompson Lane in Murfreesboro. We would love to earn your business.
We are back. Our guest, who's going to join us here in a moment, has one of the most interesting resumes you could ever imagine. He's a former mayor of Boston, a city that I absolutely love, from 2014 to 21. Later was the Secretary of Labor for a couple of years in the Biden administration, and now has become, as of about 4 months ago, give or take, the new executive director of the NHL Players Association. We say hello to Marty Walsh, who joins us. Marty, welcome to Nashville.
It's great to be in Nashville again. I've been here many times as the mayor, as the Secretary of Labor, and now in this role.
So how in the world did this job happen?
I got reached out to right before Christmas by a recruitment agency that was looking to hire the NHL Players Union was looking to hire a new executive director. I got reached out to ask if I'd be interested in having a conversation. I said yes. I had several interviews with a search committee with the players, and then before you know it, I was offered to go in front of the entire board, executive board, and I did, and it got unanimously approved. So it kind of fell out of the heavens, if you will. It was not something that I was looking at or even knew was an opportunity or potential for me, and I've had the chance. My life has been in organized labor and obviously running the city of Boston and being a secretary of labor. So I've had the credentials, but it's a great opportunity, and I love representing the players.
So most of my interest goes back to baseball and the late great Marvin Miller, who changed baseball unlike any human being ever has. And so I pay a lot of attention to this kind of stuff. I was telling everybody a little while ago, I've just gotten through reading a 600-page book about all of the infighting that went on between Bud Selig and Donald Fear when those two went at it as commissioner and head of a players association. What do you think, when you started thinking about this, if somebody said, okay, what determines whether an executive director does a good job? What would be your answer?
Well, I think it's the response by the players. I think if the players or the membership, anytime you have a union head or a corporate head or what have you, it always reflects in your employees. And I think in this case, in the case of baseball, in the case of football, hockey, basketball, whatever it might be, soccer, it really is, are the players happy with their representation? Are they in a position that they can get gains and support moving forward? And I think, back in the days when, Marvin Miller and Don Fear was in baseball and then hockey and some of the other names we know, those were battles back then. You didn't have free agency. You didn't have salary caps in some places. The players had very little control over their destiny. And those battles back in the day really set the tone for players to have rights. And some of those rights were strikes and lockouts and things like. They lost a lot of rights to lockouts over the years. And I think today's union, and I'm a proud member of the labor's union, and now the head of the players union. It's about trying to work together and find common grounds, but also fight for your membership. And I think that I think it's changed a bit, but at the end of the day, the premise is still the same. I'm representing the players. The owners represent the NHL, and there's going to be times when we have disagreements about things, and that's in any sport, by the way, any sport. So I think the way to view success is the mood and the feel of the membership.
And yet I could swear it looked fairly cordial today up on that podium. I didn't see anybody with boxing gloves, and having just read this book, I was like, oh my God, this is considerably better.
Yeah, I have a different style than some people do. I mean, my background in labor has always been trying to find common grounds and move forward in a positive manner. But if you need to have the fight, you have the fight. Today was a very special day for the NHLPA and the NHL, where we announced the Player Inclusion Coalition. This is something that was launched in 2020, but with COVID, it changed it, and really thinking about diversity and inclusion in the game of hockey. Whether it's a person of color, LGBTQ community, indigenous people, women in the women's side of hockey. It was really about building an inclusive game.
Were you a big hockey fan coming into this?
I was, growing up in Boston, obviously I'm 56, so I got the tail end of Bobby Orr and that era. And then, the 70s and 80s and 90s, I'm a huge hockey fan. I'd, go crazy for the Bruins and follow them around all over the place. And then as I got older, obviously, you become a fan of sports generally. But hockey was always that sport that I loved the most. Just the whole idea of the game, and then getting this opportunity is kind of wild. It's wild. I actually have to pinch myself once in a while going, holy, how did this happen? So it's great. It's great. And Nashville's been unbelievable in the last couple of days. I know that hockey fanatics in Nashville for the Predators. And, I remember watching the Predators when they first came in the league and then watching them on those incredible runs they had. I mean, it was fun watching Nashville when it was on TV at night, 9 o'clock game, usually ESPN. It was great watching the Predators because the team was exciting. The crowd was nuts. It was great to watch.
Okay, can I ask a couple of Fenway questions?
Absolutely.
So this would have been 2008. Our mayor at the time, Carl Dean, invited me to take our show to what was going to be Nashville Day at Fenway. And whoever the mayor of Boston was at the time had set up a dinner for Saturday night. And I went to the mayor and just said, look, I got to level with you. I've never been to Fenway. I'm going. And he and I cut a deal that we would go for 5 innings. We both went for 5 innings. We saw Roy Halladay pitch against the Red Sox. It was one of the coolest things. My God.
That was Tom Menino, who was the mayor back then. He was the mayor right before me.
Yeah.
The longest serving mayor in Boston's history. Huge Red Sox fan, huge baseball fan. And the Red Sox had just come off winning the World Series, right? The year before. They had won it in 04, 07, and then 13, and then 1 year when I was mayor, 17.
So let me ask this before we let you go. This is a unique opportunity. You don't get a chance very often to have somebody on who runs a players union. What would be the biggest issue right now in hockey for players?
I mean, right now, it's a little bunch of different issues. I think one is international hockey. The players really want to go back to the Olympics, playing the Olympics. They want to also hockey. The NHL and NHLPA a few years ago had what was called the World Cup of Hockey tournament, best on best tournament. We're working now to get that back up and running and having a consistent schedule moving forward. International hockey is really important. And then it's also just the game. I mean, promotion of the game and getting markets like Nashville excited about hockey. It's unbelievable to see it in the South. You have Nashville has a great team. The Dallas Stars have a great team. The Arizona Coyotes players there don't play in an ideal situation, but they have a good team. Southern California teams, Florida, obviously Florida Panthers. So you have hockey's taken over the country, and it's taken over the South. Obviously, I'm at the Northeast, so it's been one of the original 6 teams, the Bruins, and I work out of Toronto, so Toronto's another one of those. So I think it's also about expanding the game of hockey, expanding the interest of hockey, and that's whether it's diversity, inclusion, whether it's getting more people engaged in the sport. It's really amazing.
Marty Walsh is our guest. He is the new executive director of the NHL Players Association. So let me toss one last thing at you. What has been, you've got a background where it would seem you would know exactly what you're walking into. What's been the biggest surprise in this brief time you've had this job?
I think that I don't know if I call it a surprise, but the commonality between politics, more so being the mayor and running the PA and working with the league. I think there's a lot of similarities there. It's about relationship building. It's about growth, about expansion. Not necessarily expanding teams, but expansion of the game. Understanding that the players are passionate about the game, the fans are passionate about the game. Knowing the fans are watching, right now at this point in time, with the draft tomorrow, free agency coming up, fans really are paying attention to that, and as if they were a general manager. So it's really amazing to see. So I think that the surprise is it's kind of like being running a city. That there's a lot of similarities to it. It's a day-to-day job. The challenges change in the course of a day. The fans see the final product on the ice when the season starts, but to get to that point, there's a lot that goes into it. These players, when they end their season, whether it's in early end of April, early May, or they play in the Stanley Cup Championship, they only take like a week or two off and they're back at it again. So they're training year round to be ready for the next season.
I know that you had to shift a lot of things around to make this happen for me. I really appreciate that. Marty, look forward to seeing you tomorrow night and hope your visit to Nashville continues to be a good one.
Yeah, no, you have a great city here. Nashville's great. And, your Mayor Cooper's a friend, and Mayor Barry was a friend. Megan, we served together. All of us served together in different capacities when we were mayors. And, we support each other. So we kind of watch what's going on in cities. And Nashville is a great city in America, and it's a very popular city, up and coming city, a lot of buildings, a lot of cranes. So I wish Nashville a lot of luck. I wish the Predators a lot of luck, and hopefully I'll be here during the season and watch a game, and maybe I can come on again and take some calls or something.
Okay, come on back. We'll look forward to it. Marty, thank you.
All right, my friend. Thank you.
Marty Walsh is the executive director of the NHL Players Association. Kelly, that's a tough job because there's probably a honeymoon period, but there are also built up things that go on. I've always thought it kind of revolves around whether a league has a salary cap. And if they don't have a salary cap, the fighting is like that.
Yeah, it can be rather intense, as you've seen some of the labor disputes between football and the NHL and all these professional sports. So I was going to ask him something too, but the thing that I was going to tell him was that I see where he was a New England Patriots fan, which I played them a couple of times, never won up there, so I still hate them.
I know he'd appreciate that.
I know he would have.
Kelly, the thing that came out of the book that was very interesting, George Steinbrenner and Bud Selig were pretty close friends, and yet they were in constant battle over the fact that Bud Selig wanted a luxury tax on teams that he felt spent too much.
Yeah.
And really that tax, whether it was aimed this way or not, it was sort of a George Steinbrenner tax. He was the only guy spending to this crazy amount. Now there are 3 or 4 teams doing it. And at the time, Steinbrenner was pissed because he knew he was the only one paying this tax, and it was a tax that was to be given to the smaller markets. And what Steinbrenner was right about was that the smaller markets were not using it to make themselves better. The owners simply were pocketing the money and walking away. And this was a constant battle in this book. Like I said, I just got through reading it, 600 pages. Most of you didn't know I could read, but this is my confirmation that I can.
Hey, George, inform me on this a little bit. Does baseball have a salary cap?
They do not.
That's what I thought. They do. Yeah, they do not. That's what I thought. So that's why George Steinbrenner and the New York Yankees could spend as much as they want. It's kind of amazing because when you're one of the bigger cities in the world, you've got the Yankees brand, you've got all this money. They've spent it over the years. You're absolutely right. They brought big name guys in there and given them a lot of money. There's only a few teams that can do that. And you look at a team like the Oakland A's, they just can't do stuff like that. So it's, I don't know. You're right about the salary cap stuff, about infighting when you don't have one. There's a lot of butt in your head. So you can see why they've done what they've done over the years.
Baseball really is the only one that doesn't have a cap of some sort. What is interesting, though, if you look, the Yankees, Terry's team, have not won a World Series since 2009. It's now been 14 years, and I got news for Terry. This year, they're not either. As long as Aaron Judge is hurt, and it appears it's more severe than we knew, the Yankees aren't going anywhere.
Yeah, and the Mets have the highest payroll in baseball. And
now,
they're 16 games out of first place.
Which is why Buck Showalter, and I hate saying this because Buck was part of the first Nashville Sounds team I ever broadcast in college. Buck's going to get fired with the Mets. I don't think it anymore is a question of if, it's a question of when.
I saw a stat the other day of the division leaders in MLB right now. The Braves have the highest payroll, and they're just 8th highest in the league. So the top 7 teams in payroll have not equated to winning. So it's kind of interesting how teams are built now. Like the Reds, they have like the 28th highest payroll in baseball. They're built through young players and young contracts. And that's kind of like football, the success to winning nowadays. The Mets have signed Verlander and Scherzer to $40 million deals a year, and they haven't performed, and that doesn't equate to winning.
The other one, the poster child right now, spend, and get nothing for it, the San Diego Padres. they're not getting anything done.
Well, it just shows you that, George, you can be the ultimate athlete. You can do all this stuff, but when they bring you into a team, you might not fit. Doesn't matter if you're the best player in the league, you might not fit with that organization. And I think your boy Dan Snyder found that out a long time ago in Washington, where he tried to bring all those big name guys in there, and they couldn't win anything. They didn't beat anybody. They couldn't beat eggs. And it was I don't know. You just never know about a team, about the characteristics and the makeup of a team. And when you bring one guy in that you think can solve stuff, he could be the worst fit for the team. It's just you just never really know. And when you do get something where you don't know why it's happening, you don't know why we're winning, but these guys are gelling, and it's just nobody can understand that.
Here's what will happen, though. So go back. I saw you pulling that up. The Reds at the moment are 28th out of, 28 out of 30?
Correct.
Okay. And let's see, their estimated payroll right now is about $48 million. Well, I got news for them. If they're going to keep that core that right now is causing all this excitement, Ellie De La Cruz is going to cost them a fortune.
You got to sign him now.
Yeah, they've got to be looking at the Braves and going, somehow Atlanta got Ronald Acuna to sign a long-term deal for far less than market value. Same thing with Ozzie Albies. And the Reds are going to need something like that, hometown discount kind of stuff. That's going to be a really interesting thing to watch that we're likely to talk with Danny about on Thursday.
And that's what sucks, George, because when you get something going like the Reds have got now, well, you got all these young guys going to pay, but at some point their contract's going to come up, and you either got to pay them or you got to let them go. And that's what sucks for the fans sometimes, because nobody sticks around in a certain city. And I can understand that. The guys are trying to maximize their value, but it's a tough deal. Sometimes you wish you could go back to the Baltimore Colts when that whole team stayed together with the Raymond Berries and the Johnny Unitas. That's just not going to happen anymore. I understand that, because a player's value goes up with how he plays, but it kind of sucks sometimes because there's no continuity to teams anymore.
Yeah, Ronald Acuna is on a $17 million deal, and you can break this down, George, but his original contract extension that he signed was 8 years, $100 million. So that's an average of 12.5 for a superstar player in this league. That's dirt cheap.
Yeah, here's where the agent for some of these guys in Cincinnati will argue. Kelly, they had 3 sellouts, 3 standing room only crowds this weekend, drew right at 131,000. So I put, just for the heck of it, a minute ago into my trusty little phone, I said $50 a ticket.
That's
because
a lot of money.
The lower level, it's $6,550,000 that the Reds likely took in over this weekend playing the Braves. And so there's going to, there are people in Cincinnati know how to use these too. And in the talk show world, when the owner cries complete poverty, which is what's been going on up there, then one of these guys says, wait a minute, I just put this into the old computer, $6 million over a weekend, pretty damn good take. I'd like to do that.
You got to pay all them fellas, though.
Ooh.
I don't know how the Braves got away with it. Ozzie Albies is on a 7-year, $35 million contract.
It was a fleecing.
He's an all-star. Strider just signed an extension. I'm going to get to him in a second. He's in a 6 year, $75 million contract. Like, he could go out in the open market and get 20 to $25 million right now.
But what they did, they did it years ahead of time. They knew what was coming. The Reds, if they're smart, will basically take a chapter out of the Braves playbook, and that's how they'll try to keep these guys.
And the playbook is to really buy them out of their arbitration years. So the benefit is they don't have to go to arbitration where, or I guess a judge would set a set
where an
salary.
arbitrator doesn't know what the hell an RBI is. And that used to be seriously in the early days of arbitration. Some of the arbitrators didn't know a damn thing about baseball, and it just frustrated people, when they're going, what's an RBI? Why are you here? If you don't know what an RBI is, why the hell are you here? Why are you an arbitrator?
Exactly. And that the Braves have Olsen, Riley, Acuna, Albie, Strider locked up for the long term. And they just signed Orlando Arcia to an extension of 3 years, $7.5 million.
Here's the answer. My front office been smarter than yours.
I don't know how AA gets away with it, but he does.
We'll go to the break, and then we'll have Plaster Bet of the Day, which has got to be a damn sight better than yesterday. Stay tuned.
As the trusted premier custom home builder in Middle Tennessee, Donnelly Timmons has over 20 years of experience in the industry. Whether you're looking to build your dream home or renovate your current home, their team will ensure that every client and every remodel is unique, luxurious, and completed on time within budget. Founders Dustin Timmons and Joey Donnelly have over 25 years of construction experience in the Nashville area. Together, they have completed projects in Forest Hills, Oak Hill, Green Hills, Franklin, and Brentwood. Dustin and Joey believe that communication is the most important aspect of all construction projects. Therefore, they personally manage each project themselves and are involved in job site activities on a daily basis. Their commitment to quality and integrity has earned them an outstanding reputation among their clients. Contact them to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects. Give them a call at 615-456-7983 or log on to DonnellyTimmons.com.
You know, starting to save for your future doesn't have to be difficult. Let Wilson Bank and Trust help tone up your financial goals this year. Our certificates of deposits or CDs can help your money work harder with our competitive rates, earning you more than ever before. WBT checking options allow you to earn rewards you can really use, like a high interest rate or cash back on check card purchases when you meet some e-banking qualifications. Visit your closest Wilson Bank and Trust office or online at wilsonbank.com to get started today. Member FDIC.
Family owned and operated for more than 2 decades, Alaco Fine Wood Floors is Nashville and Middle Tennessee's choice for premium quality hardwood floors. Since 1995, Jimmy Alaco and his army of employees have embodied the approach of taking pride in one's craft and providing superior customer service, growing from a one-man shop to a team of 23 professionals who share the founder's passion for quality craftsmanship and customer satisfaction. If you are interested in contacting them, you can find their headquarters at 2505 Winford Avenue in Berry Hill, or give them a call at 615-356-0303. Again, that's 615-356-0303, or log on to alacofinewoodfloors.com. Alaco Fine Wood Floors, serving Middle Tennessee's hardwood flooring needs since 1995.
At Baird, we have a different slant on global financial advice. That global capabilities mean nothing without personal attention. We have investor relationships in 35 countries and market expertise in over 40 industry verticals, all to help make the most important investment connections of all, yours. Global financial advice with a client-first approach. It's the shape of things to come. Discover the Baird difference at bairdifference.com.
Hey, thank you for meeting with me today. The insurance company has made an offer.
Already? Wow.
They've offered you the entire policy.
Thank you, Blair.
You're so welcome.
Welcome back in. Final segment on a Tuesday. Plaster's Bet of the Day presented to you by Bart Durham Injury Law Firm. They are, simply put, the best in the business. They are lawyers you can trust. So give them a call at 615-242-9000 or log on to bartdurham.com. And for George last night, it was a rough one. The Rangers let him down against the White Sox.
Rangers
for the
aren't
Tigers.
playing as well in the last 2 weeks. And if that continues, Houston will take over. Rangers better be careful. They've got the Metroplex really excited, but in the last 2 weeks, something's going on that's not good.
Funny you mentioned that the Astros. They play the Cardinals starting tonight. That's going to be an interesting series. Two teams that really need to start winning some baseball games where there's going to be some questions at the trade deadline.
Well, I know that deep down, I think there's going to be a manager fired in St. Louis at the All-Star break, and I've thought for a while Yadier Molina is going to be the next manager of the Cardinals.
You've mentioned that, and then
Yep.
Dan O'Dowd said on MLB Network today that he thinks that it's time, that now's
Oh,
the
I
time.
thought it was time. When I went 2 weeks ago, I knew something's not right in St. Louis.
I know we got to get to bet of the day, but he mentioned, do you trade Goldschmidt? He's only 1 year on his contract left. Do you trade him at the deadline?
Only if you feel like you have no shot to sign him. Paul Goldschmidt's a stud.
And he mentioned the Phillies would pay a lot to get him.
Oh, God. We don't need that.
Just saying. They need a first baseman.
They do right now
And Hoskins is going to be a free
Reese
agent.
Hoskins, yeah.
So could you imagine Goldschmidt, Schwarber,
Oh,
Trey Turner in a lineup together with Bryce Harper?
Don't do it. He could hit about 80 in that park.
Probably could. So where are we going tonight, George?
Well, let's post it because
This
to
one's
be
near
honest,
and dear to your heart.
I don't remember where I went.
Go ahead and break out into the chop, George.
No, let's do it. So I need a win, Kelly. And so I'm going to the most sure thing I can find.
Best team in the National League.
David, I'm just interested in when this gets a little bit tighter and he loses a couple of games in a row and he gets up to that 197 to 197. Is he going to truly call in sick and not come back on until we reach the deadline where we can null and void this?
I'm surprised he went here because, they say don't bet with your heart, bet with your head. Will be interesting to see what happens tonight.
That's a pretty good pick. I mean, Atlanta's really good.
Bryce Elder's going tonight.
I hate saying that to you guys because I know y'all are Braves guys, but they are really good. They go up to Cincinnati with a red-hot team and take 2 or 3 of them. So
I don't want them to
good.
peak too soon. I don't want to peak too soon.
When you're good, David, it doesn't matter if you.
Well,
peak
we were
or
good
what.
last year.
Yeah, here's the scary part of it. The team that won it all was not anywhere near as good as last year's team.
Exactly.
It's how hot do you get
And I feel like we're
in
peaking
that 3-week period. I'm not going to worry about it.
Last year, the chasing
Can't
down
worry about it.
Chasing down the Mets last year is what really killed them. That was their postseason, trying to catch the Mets. That series in Atlanta against the Mets in the year, phenomenal. But that was kind of their playoff run.
So a Mets fan with the name of Willie Donick sent me this text earlier today. I asked him for some information. He said, sure. And then at the bottom, Mets suck.
So Willie's a Metropolitan fan. huh?
Oh, he's been forever, and he wears that nasty old hat.
As a Braves fan, it gives me joy. Frank the Tank for Barstool Sports posts like on Twitter a video crying and screaming. He's a big Mets fan every time they lose, and it just brings me such pure joy.
Well, they've found some ways to lose that have gotten ridiculous.
They lost last night to the Brew Crew, and man, Verlander only went 5 innings because he can't strike people out. He has no put-away pitch anymore. They can't score runs offensively. They got a lot of issues going on up there.
They basically took a chance on Old, and right now Old is not working, and it's going to cost Buck Showalter. That there's going to be a managerial change at some point. Kelly, tomorrow we'll be at Bridgestone.
Be heavy NHL, I'm sure. Is that correct?
Yeah, probably. Mark McGee is going to be with us for a good bit of it. He's going to lead me down the here's what's coming tonight. My guess is it's probably 50-50 that the Predators make a trade tomorrow.
You think so? You think they'll move up?
I think they're trying.
Yeah.
I
Might
want-
not get a taker, though. You never know.
Here's what I don't know. What's more important for them, moving up or getting rid of Matt Duchene?
Golly, you are on Duchene, George. You're
Yes.
on Duchene like you're on the Oakland A's moving to Vegas.
The real question
Good
is, would you
gracious.
give him up if you had to give away one of the top prospects?
I'm glad I don't have to make that decision.
That's the hard decision to make with his contract. Do you have to give up one of your really good young guys to let him go?
This is a good time to say we're out of here.
Well, but that's what makes all this stuff so interesting.
Sure.
That's what makes the NFL draft interesting, because we all sit here and speculate, but nobody truly knows until you're behind those closed door meetings, So
No, I'm a lot better behind this desk than I would be behind Barry Trotz's desk.
Correct.
Anyway, tomorrow we'll be at the arena. It'll be a fun show. I promise. See you then.
See you, brother.
See you.